All right, so we're getting to the phase now, most people in class, where they have a nice revolution. They've added a grip with some offset work planes, that sort of thing. They're starting to get into the phase where they want to start thinking about adding some buttons on here. So one student in class has an idea where they want to kind of recess a flat panel into the side of it, then add a couple different shaped buttons in there. I think that's a really nice, kind of clever idea. So I'm going to show you how to do that here. Um, it's all about doing planes tangent to surfaces and parallel to planes. All right, tangent to surface and parallel to plane right here. All right, so you click that option. Now, so you go to work plane, work features plane, select tangent to surface and parallel to plane. All right, now the order you click things in matters. So you want to find the work plane you want it tangent to or parallel to first. So I'm going to put it parallel to the horizontal plane, I guess, because I'm just thinking about this from doing it from the top. I could also do it from this plane. It doesn't really matter, but I'm going to do it from the XZ plane. I'm going to do it on this surface. The reason I like to do the plane first is then you can see where it's going to put it. You know, if you click the top of your surface, it's going to put it on top. If you click the bottom, it's going to put it on bottom. So there you go. Now, I'm going to start a sketch on that work plane. All right. And I'm going to make a recessed panel in here. I'm going to use a center point rectangle to do this. All right. Center point rectangle, 2-point center is nice because it'll always perfectly center your rectangle wherever you're going to put it. So I'm just going to do this kind of by eye, the panel I'm cutting into it. Now, there's 2 ways you can put this panel on here. So I'm going to show you both ways. Let's just get this on there first, finish sketch. Now from here, you can either extrude it, just straight up do a cut extrusion down into the model. That's obviously too far. All right, that's probably a little too far too. You know, maybe that looks good. You can do just a straight up cut extrusion, make it flat on the bottom and add your buttons. Or what you can do is emboss this. If you emboss it, right, you do a cut, check wrap to face, all right, and you gotta click a couple options to make sure it's going to wrap to this face, not all the way through, right? And you can set the depth of it. And what this should do is cut this rectangle out, but it'll follow the surface. Let's see if we like that depth. I'm going to make it a little deeper, I think. All right, let's see what it looks like. Hit OK, see if it does it. So now what that does is it cuts it. Now, see how this is angled here? That's the wrap to face option. If you go back to this and you uncheck wrap to face, watch the difference. It cuts the side straight down. So wrap to face makes it follow, kind of literally wraps it. If you don't have it checked, it just goes straight down. So that's a matter of preference. Now, you could have just done the extrusion flat. Also, that does look kind of cool, right? Like, you might think of something else you want to do with that. I don't know. So now, if you want to actually add buttons now, you can add them from that same sketch if you want, or you start another sketch on that plane, all right? Or you add another new work plane tangent to this inside cylinder. It's kind of up to you. So if I want to make a circle button, that's not exactly where I want it. All right, circle button, and then one of the shapes that's kind of fun is the slot shape, center to center. Now this one can be a little bit tricky sometimes if you can make a couple different shaped buttons if you want. Kind of fun. All right, and for those, you can just extrude them down. Probably want the tops of those to be flat. You can extrude it down into there if you want. Looks kind of cool. If you want it to come up out of the recess a little bit, you can do what's called an asymmetric extrusion, which is this option here. And you can actually make it go up out of the surface a little bit, out of that work plane. And that'll raise them up above the surface of the lightsaber a bit, you know? So that's some ways. You make the work plane tangent to the surface, and then you can either emboss or just extrude. It's up to you how you want to do that. All right. And then if you want to add some, maybe you want to chamfer those buttons. I don't know. Oh, that's a little much. Maybe a little more than that. And chamfer them. If you want, you can do all kinds of stuff there. I've had kids put like little ridges around it, almost like a knob to turn. I can show you how to do that as well. That's kind of fun. You can chamfer the edge of this if you want. The opening you just made, do that. You can start, you can get creative with that. Add details you go. And that, again, it starts to look nice as you add asymmetry. That asymmetry starts to make it look a little more realistic. Like, okay, there'll be some buttons on this side. It's not just a straight up revolve thing. All of a sudden it really starts looking pretty neat as you start to add some of these features. On the back of this one, this lightsaber had a knob on the bottom of it. I'm not sure what the knob was exactly, but for that one, I've put a work plane on here. Plane, tangent to surface, parallel to plane, so tangent to this surface, parallel to this plane. I want to put it on the perpendicular side to this one, right? That'll make it look cool too. So that, again, that asymmetry makes these look interesting. I'm going to start a sketch on this work plane. What did I do? What I did was I made a hole through it, the bottom of it. It was a knob and a hole when I made it for my son. So I think what I did was, first thing I did is I just put a knob on it, right? And again, when you extrude this on the surface, you got to make sure you do an asymmetric extrusion here, so it actually, because right now, if I just hit OK, that cylinder I just made is just sitting tangent to that surface. It's not going to be actually attached, right? If you zoom in there, you can see it's not actually attached. So I got to make sure when I do that extrusion for that knob, I make it an asymmetric extrusion so it goes down into the model as well. And look, that puts material in between that gap there to make it solid. Now, it's going up a little too high, if you ask me. So let's see, this side of the asymmetric extrusion, let's see, 0.1, maybe a little bigger, 0.15. Okay. Yeah, that's cool. I like that. What else did I do with this that one time? You know what I did? Chamfered it. Okay. I'm going to start a sketch here. Put a point right on the middle of it. Put a hole all the way through. Oh boy, way too big. So let's see, 0.01. Oops, no, I'm messing this all up. 0.1. That's a little small. 0.2. Yeah, it looks cool. Okay. I'm going to chamfer this. Inside of that hole. Fly, go over to the other side. Chamfer this hole. So that way you could put like a string or something on it, or a leather strap or something hanging off. So it's starting to come together. Those work planes tangent to the surface is the key. I guess I better do something up here, right? Put a hole in there or something. Remember, you can just use a circle too. It doesn't need to be a hole for this one. It doesn't really matter. Right? Make a cut. Looks kind of cool if you recess it and you get that nice shadow. You get a shadow in there. Looks a little more interesting. You could customize it with writing if you wanted to. You can emboss writing. Embossing will work on this, on the lightsaber, because, oops, I forgot my torch. Embossing will work on this lightsaber nicely because most of the shapes are cylindrical. or pretty basic, so embossing will work.